Hi everyone. This is a video for Aquarius risings. I'm really excited about this one because I am an Aquarius rising. What is Aquarius? Aquarius is an air sign. It's fixed, meaning it's stubborn. It is ruled by Saturn and it's co-ruled by Uranus, and it is ruled by the 11th house, which is the house of associations, unfamiliar things, unfamiliar places, just things that you're unfamiliar with, things that you don't know, and you eventually know things, but before you knew things, you didn't know that, right? So it becomes the unknown. So if you put all of those things, and what is Saturn, right? Saturn is boundaries and restrictions, right? Structure, but realistic structure in your life, right? We live in a Saturn world. We live in a 10th house. Like, our Earth is ruled by the 10th house, like ruled by things you can show for, But anyway, and 11th house, like how are you networking yourself and shit like that. But for the most part, Uranus is change, uniqueness, rebellion, just being different, being a weirdo, right? So if you put all of those things and you put it in your first house, and you put air also in your first house, and all of those things in the first house, you appear to be someone who is, because remember also Aquarius is like very detached and weird and like just superior and like just like I don't know, just a weird person, you know what I'm saying? I'm sorry, I'm trying to get this shit to be like at a right lighting, because I don't want it to be too dark and I don't want it to be like hella bright as fuck. But anyway, so if you put all of those things in your first house, right, you get someone who looks weird, right? But also because Saturn is there, they put boundaries and restrictions in their personality, right? But the only difference with the Capricorn rising is that an Aquarius rising is, because they're an air sign, they may communicate a lot, right? So they may communicate their weirdness. They may communicate their realistic structure, but they'll communicate it in a very unique way. And the things that, like, how they communicate the unique structure and like how they're gonna go about gaining structure is going to be in a unique way. So how they're going to tell it to you is going to be in a unique way. So Aquarius rising people may have a very different voice. They may have a nice voice, but it's very unique and different. Each Aquarius rising person has like a different, distinct, unique face, but for the most part it's very like alien. Like, they may have big eyes. Some Aquarius risings have small eyes, right? But I don't know, there's just something, I feel like Aquarius rising has something about their eyes too, but not like Scorpio risings, not like Pisces risings, not like Gemini or Virgo risings, or Sagittarius risings. There's just something very interesting, like I don't know. And it's not like Gemini and Virgo eyes where it's like, oh, there's mischievous shit there, or like Scorpio eye where it's like very intense, or like Pisces eyes where it's very dreamy. I feel like Aquarius eyes are like very, I'm looking at my own eyes, but they're like very kind of dreamy-ish, and they're very like clear. Aquarius rising eyes like are very like clear, like glass, like crystal, like glass eyes, I'm not saying this to like, okay, low-key I am, but like, I'm not saying this to be toot my own horn. I'm just like speaking from experience, But anyway, Aquarius risings appear to be very detached, right? They appear to be, these Aquarius rising people can be also very intimidating, because that coldness and that detachedness can be very, it's like, oh wow, and people feel that shit from you, it's like, oh wow, jeez, you're fucking weird. There's no fucking telling what you could do. What? Oh shit. You know what I'm saying? That type of thing. So Aquarius rising, if you have come across, because also the midheaven is Scorpio too, but we'll get to the midheaven. But yeah, as a Aquarius rising, you may come across as very detached, right? But you may like talk a lot when people first meet you. You may talk a lot, or you may not talk at all, because you may want to detach from talking to people, like, period. You may not even feel like talking to people. So that's the thing. It really depends on the Aquarius rising, because sometimes the Aquarius rising may be very talkative, and then they just bundles are depleted after like for talking for a while, and they're like, oh fuck, I'm done, like I'm done. And then they boom, they detach, and then they escape into their own world, because this is something they share with Sagittarius, right? Where they like can escape and they just ghost. So basically Aquarius, they may appear to be people that ghost, and in their personal lives they may be detached from their personal lives too, and they may have very interesting personal lives, or they may rebel from people and places and things that are in their personal lives, or they may just ghost people that are in their personal lives, They may have very unique fashion. They may have very like, see, I have like a weird scar here. I have a scar here too. I have multiple piercings, right? Whatever. But and because of Uranus, it changes a lot. So I had a nose ring, I had a bridge, I had a septum, I had stretchers, I had an industrial, all that. But in Aquarius, like each Aquarius rising person will have, like, somehow in their lives they will have changed their hair, and that completely drastically changes their entire facial structure, or they get piercings, if they get a lot of piercings and then all of a sudden they have no piercings, or they have like a clear face and they have tattoos. It really depends, right? But their facial, like their appearances is always changing, One day they're like in a very gothic, they're like in a gothic aesthetic, and then another day they're like super hippie, and then another day they're like hipster, like Nirvana vibes, you know what I'm saying? Another day they're Slate Queen or whatever. Another day they're Chakra High, you know what I'm saying? Like it differs, it really differs, like it changes all the time. But like it kind of, it's like somewhat like Gemini energy, where it's like kind of fickle. You moody, you like fluctuating moods. It all depends on the Aquarius, but for the most part, like each Aquarius will display these. Like they'll appear to be very detached, appear to be very unique, very original people. Just do things that are weird and very shocking. They shock people. Like, and with these like changing aesthetics and shit, like you may get shocked because they may, like, when you first meet them, they may have been like this, and you may have thought, oh wow, I know what kind of person you are, and then the next day they're just completely different. See, so they also personally, they're unpredictable in their lives, and like personally they're very they're just weirdos, man. Fucking weirdos, bro. Fucking Aquarius is a weird ass motherfucker. And then in their second house, right, is Pisces. So their self-value. So Pisces is like this illusionary planet. Very imaginary, like it's nothing. You don't know what's real, what's not real. It's like you thought you got something figured out, but you don't. Like, see, that's Pisces, that's Neptune. But if you put this in, but it's also very creative, it's very creative, very, like your imagination, it's subconscious, you know what I'm saying? So if you put all those things in the second house, Aquarius gains their self-value kind of, it's like, it's almost like they're not too sure when they have because I feel like, I feel like with Aquarius risings, their self-value is more prominent when they're like getting emotionally, when they're getting emotional enlightenment about something, and when they're able to emotionally assist people with their lives. You know how Pisces help people? They just help people emotionally. An Aquarius rising has what's this word? Gains self-value from doing that, from helping people emotionally, right? But now here's the thing with the self, right, is that once an Aquarius rising doesn't know how the fuck to help themselves, right, their emotional, not their emotional thing, but their their value, the sense of value kind of gets like, it's tricky as fuck. Then it gets tricky, and then this is why you'll see an Aquarius rising kind of change different moods, because of that Pisces second house, right? It trickles down in that Pisces second house, you don't know, like one minute you feel like, oh my god, I'm so amazing, and then the next minute, like, you just don't understand what the fuck is going on. Like, cause yesterday you were good, like you were on your shit, and then like just because you watched a movie about a girl that was suicidal as fuck, right? And because Pisces is connecting and subconsciously connecting, and Pisces like subconsciously becomes people. You know, Aquarius rising can do that too, and then their sense of like their sense of emotion, not emotion. I keep saying emotional thing, but their sense of like self-worth, it like changes too, just depending on who they're with or what they were watching or what movie they were watching or music they were listening to, you know. But also on that's kind of on the negative side, but on the positive side they can also find value when they're like in their creative abilities, when they're being creative, you know, when they're like creating things and when they're imagining things and like actually wheeling down their imagination. And like it could also be when they like smoke weed or do drugs or whatever. And I'm saying on a negative side, when they find value in getting high. So Aquarius risings may like to get high a lot. And if they don't get high, they probably like just like watching movies a lot. And then that's when they find their self-value, is when they're just like kind of detaching from themselves. You know, they find value in things that are outside of themselves. You know what I'm saying? Emotionally also. And then the third house being Aries, right? So third house is like your friends, your siblings, fucking things that you're familiar with, right? Now, Aquarius rising people probably have really aggressive friends, or they are the aggressive friend, right? Or they have aggressive siblings, or they are the aggressive sibling, right? Or they can be the passionate sibling, or they could have passionate friends or siblings too. Right now, it could also be like whenever you like they attract people that are like fast, like passionate people that say things really quickly. You know what I'm saying? Straight to the point. Like let's not like cut the bullshit. You know, type of shit. Or they are like that. I feel like a lot of Aquarius are actually like that. They're just like, you know, very honest people, very direct people, like straight to the point, cut the bullshit. But it depends though, because if you have Libra Sun or Libra Moon, it'll probably affect that and you'll be a lot more passive, you know what I'm saying? But for the most part, like usually when they are around their friends or around like siblings or like just like the homies, you know, they're very aggressive, very cutthroat, very honest, you know what I'm saying? Like, dude, why the fuck did you do that? That was so fucking stupid. Oh my god. You know what I'm saying? Oh, why? No, I'm not gonna give you my phone. No, I don't want to. Bye. You know, like just very passionate, just like very, you know, very much like in your face type of thing, you know. And when they learn something, when Aquarius risings learn something, they just wanna like they don't wanna think much about it. They just wanna like get to it, like use their brains to try and figure out like the mathematics of it or like the logic of it, and then already. But they do this so quickly. See, Aquarius risings are hella smart, right? Aquarius period, like Aquarius energy period is hella smart, but the Aquarius rising, when they figure something out, they just want to get hidden. Like they don't want to waste time. See, when you present a situation or a problem to an Aquarius rising, they don't want to hear like they want you to get straight to the fucking point of it, so that they can figure. It's like they can quickly figure out a solution for you. You know what I'm saying? Don't beat around the bush. Don't say too many things. Don't like just, you know, get to the point so we can figure it out now and we can find a solution now. You know what I'm saying? Otherwise, they get bored with people that aren't like, that don't get to the point. You know, they just zone out. They just go. You don't get to the point quick enough. They just zone out. They're out that conversation, bruh. I'm telling you. And then, in the fourth house is Taurus, right? So they may have grown up with. So Taurus is Venus, right? Taurus is ruled by Venus. It's very stubborn. So they may have had a very stubborn mother, right? Or a very stubborn father, right? But someone in their family is very stubborn and somewhat very possessive over them. So they may have grown up, like, let's say they're in high school now, and now this Aquarius rising person is at a place with their parents, and then the Aquarius rising person sees their friends. Now the Aquarius rising is gonna go straight to the friend, right? And then the stubborn parent and the possessive parent is gonna be like, no, don't leave, don't fucking leave, no. You see, because Taurus is possessive, and it's like, no, we came here together, we should stay together and then leave together. And then the Aquarius rising person is like, dude, chill out, I'm just gonna say hi to my friend. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Chill, bruh. And then you may even like struggle. You may even have like young like arguments with that family member because they may be whatever that they are, and then you might be like, bro, like, listen, I'm not like you can't. I mean, technically, I live in your house, but chill with the telling me what to do and what not to do and where to go and what not to go and da 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 and da 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 da. And then that parent may be like, no, listen, like, you live under my house, my rules, so you're gonna do as I say, right? Or that's kind of on the negative side, but on the positive side of this is that Aquarius risings grew up in a stable home, right? And even if it wasn't technically stable, let's say parents got divorced or whatever, like somehow there was always like money, like there was never a time where it was like, oh shit, no, we don't have money for food, we don't have money for clothes, we don't have a shelter overhead, you know what I'm saying? And like their homes were like really nice also, like your house was really nice, your house was decorated. There's like always food around. You probably always had your favorite food as an Aquarius rising child, you probably grew up in like your parents were kind of simple people, but with their simpleness they were very stubborn, and they didn't like change. They don't like change. Like they probably grew up, if they were religious, they know one religion, they all have one specific favorite food, they've been watching the same show, that type of thing, like a simple but very stubborn but not changeable, so it's kind of not fun. So you as an Aquarius rising, because you're so like unpredictable and you like have all this like mental energy, you're like very rebellious too, right? So your parents who play out this Taurus energy kind of like didn't like this from you, because they were like, oh fuck dude, why the fuck are you so changeable? Like we live in this house and we comfortable with how we live, so why are you out here trying to change shit, And then it might piss you off as an Aquarius rising, because you like, bruh, like it's not my problem that you so stuck in your ways. Like I'm trying to explore, bruh. Don't make me part of your life of being stuck, bruh, But also it depends, because if you still depend on those people, then you're gonna it's gonna kill you to have to compromise. But for the most part, that's your life. That's been your home life, But also you value people. Because okay, see, the things with Aquarius rising, sometimes you can be very shaky, like unstable also, and it's weird because you rule by Saturn, and Saturn is a very stable thing, because your thoughts are not stable, because Aquarius rising, and that's because of the Uranus energy, right? Because Aquarius rising could have a thought now, be super stubborn on it, have tunnel vision with that shit, and then watch a movie and then have a completely different perspective of how to view life, you know what I'm saying? So that's the whole weird thing with the Aquarius rising people. And then so yeah, I feel like with Aquarius rising, with that being said, I feel like they need some kind of stability, but it could differ because they may have a Taurus sun or moon, or Leo sun moon, or Scorpio sun moon, and that helps them be a lot more stable and have some kind of sense of identity, But for the most part, Aquarius rising actually need this. They somewhat need someone that's gonna be like, dude, chill, bro. We here right now, we good. Let's just chill here for a little bit, before you get scattered and do some unpredictable shit. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, and then your fifth house is gonna be Gemini. So with your fifth house being in Gemini, right? Fifth house, is how you enjoy yourself, entertainment, how you have fun, things that you like to entertain, things that you are entertained by, right? And if you have Gemini in your fifth house, Gemini is like that jack of all trades kind of energy, right? So with Aquarius rising and Gemini in your fifth house, you like to try everything. You're entertained by a whole bunch of things. You're entertained by, especially if it mentally stimulates you. Oh my fucking god. Oh my god. But also it depends. Also it depends on the house lord, right? So, for example, my fifth house lord is in the ninth house. So, and I have a Gemini in my fifth house. So my fifth house lord is in the ninth house. So I'm entertained by things that are educational, things that give wisdom, right? But if you have a Gemini fifth house and your fifth house lord is in, let's say, the eighth house, you're going to be entertained by secrets, mysteries. Or if it's in the 12th house, you're going to be entertained by drugs and shit like that, or arts. If it's in the sixth house, you're going to be entertained by working, where you might really like working. If your fifth house lord is in the fourth house, you may be entertained by being at home, just chilling, eating food, kicking back, being relaxed. You know what I'm saying? Shit like that. But it all depends, you need a birth chart. You need a birth chart reading, and I will gladly read your birth chart. Just have to figure out my shit and like how I'm gonna do that. But also, anyway, it's not about me right now. So yeah, that's Gemini in the fifth house, right? So you like a jack of all trades. You like to you're very curious basically, and being curious entertains you. You're very entertained by your curiosity, because your curiosity can it's like you like to feed your curiosity, and you like to know why people. So you may even like playing mind games with people with like an Aquarius rising. You may have fun with like playing like mental chess with people. That entertains you. And then you also like entertained by, but yeah, basically you entertained by mental stimulation. So you could even be like good into public speaking with this shit, you know what I'm saying, because it's the words and the expression and all of that shit. So whatever. But just check out your house lords, so you'll know which area of life to direct your entertainment at, or where that shit is gonna be directed at. And then with your sixth house is going to be in Cancer. So with your Cancer is like Cancer is ruled by the moon, right? And the moon is like waxing, waning, full moon, new moon. So it's never the same. It changes all the time, right? So your sixth house is dealing with your routine, schedules, your how you nurture your work, right? The moon is how you nurture your feelings, but the sixth house is how you nurture your work. So if you put these things together, you're gonna be like, how you work will all depend on how you feel. It will all literally just depend on how you feel. And this is the thing that kind of makes Aquarius rising like not kind of stable, not stable at all, because sometimes not stable because their emotion, just depending on how they feel. If they're not feeling it, or if they're in an environment that isn't like, if it's not making them feel good, it's gonna physically hurt their body. I swear to God, bro, I have this shit. And like, if it's not like, and I have my sixth house lord in the fifth house, right? So my work routines have to be dealt with like things that are entertaining, how I have fun. But if it's like something boring as fuck, like working at spa or something, I don't know, or if there's no some kind of entertainment, it's going to physically show. You're going to start having pimples, you're going to start like, I don't know, it's just going to be, it's going to show in your body, you're not going to feel good. So it's so important for you to like work at a job and have routines that are like, that tend to your like your emotional stability. You know what I'm saying? As a Cancer in the sixth house person. But for the most part, you have like with Cancer in the sixth house, you're gonna have like a how can I say this? You have your, it's like you have intuition. Like, okay, let's say you have a job, right? You're very intuitive, and you emotionally work at your work. You go with the flow. You know what I'm saying? And you like to create the mood of your work. You don't like when somebody tells you or like pushes out a feeling to you. You know what I'm saying? You don't like people that do that shit, because you're like, nah, bro, like and you don't like. Trust me, if you are not in the mood, like let's say you go to work and you're not in the mood to talk to anyone, if someone talks to you, you're gonna be pissed off for like the whole day. You just want to go home, So it's so important for Aquarius rising people to like really be into something that they actually really like, and like find a job or find a career or find something that like tends to their own emotions or their own makeup. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So then with Leo in the seventh house, right? So you as an Aquarius rising, you're gonna attract a lot of people that have okay, first you might attract a lot of people that like are attention seekers. They demand attention, or they always just like want your attention somehow. Like, and you as an Aquarius rising, like, because sometimes when you really like, when you as an Aquarius rising, when you really like someone, you kind of like have this obsession with them, or it might not even be an obsession, but like an interest. You like want to get to know them. So in that way, you give them time so that they can show you who they are and all of that, right? But then once you don't want to talk to them anymore, you're just not going to talk to them anymore, right? But then you as an Aquarius rising with your Leo in the 7th house, you always attract people that always they drag your attention back to them. You know what I'm saying? They may do a whole bunch of, you may even been in relationships with people that, because Leo energy can also be somewhat very fucking clingy, very clingy. So you may attract people that are and also Leos also bring out your emotions, you know what I'm saying? So you may attract people that do that. They bring out your emotions. They're very clingy and they're very expressive, bruh. They tell you, they show you immediately how they feel. And it's just you as an Aquarius rising, you may be like, fuck, bruh, that's a lot, bruh. Geez, that is a lot. And you as an Aquarius rising, you're very detached, you know, and you're that amount of fire. It's you see, you can handle the Sagittarius kind of fire, and the Aries kind of fire, because those are your sextile peoples, you know, and the Aries is an individual, so they don't really give a fuck what you do, you know, as long as they're good, they fine. Sagittarius is also just yo, bro, I'm chilling no matter what. But Leo demands attention, bro, and Leo can do a lot for your attention, you know, and you as an Aquarius rising, you may be what the fuck, why are you doing so much, you're doing the most, you're doing the hella most, bro, and you may attract those kind of people, right? But sometimes you need those people to kind of bring you out of your own head, because as an Aquarius rising, you're thinking so much, and there's no time for you to just have fun. Oh, you have fun, but the way you have fun, because of that 5th house in Gemini, is also dealing with thinking. So that Leo energy kind of can bring you out of it, brings you out of that thinking so hard, you know what I'm saying? And then yeah, basically, so you attract a lot of attention seekers, or you attract a lot of people who get attention, you know, you attract a lot of people who other people like them, you know what I'm saying, that kind of thing. But yeah, that's pretty much the most, and I know this because all my exes have Leo risings. All of them, except one maybe, but most of the time they have Leo risings. And my closest friends have Leo risings. Anyway, and then your 8th house. Your 8th house is Virgo, right? So with Virgo being your 8th house, you, it's sometimes your health, you probably as an Aquarius rising, your health has been, you've probably been to the hospital a lot of the time because you broke a bone, you broke your ankle, you tonsils, your lung, I don't know, something happened, just something with your lung has always transformed you, or has always it's just been weird as fuck, you know. You may have been, even mental institutions, you may have been to a lot of mental institutions, or you may have been to actual hospitals because you broke your bones a lot, or you broke something, you fractured a muscle, I don't know, something like that, you know. Or I know you bruise easily. I know fucking Aquarius raising you bruise easily, right? Your health is just always your body's very fragile, basically, because you also have Cancer ruling your 6th house, and Cancer is dealing with the emotions. You know what I'm saying? So just if you are in a bad mood, you're gonna bruise easily, and this is why a lot of Aquarius is you may not know, you just wake up one day with a bruise, something, or you just wake up and your back is painful or something, you know, and this is why, you know, because your 6th house is you have Virgo in the 8th house, and that shit is about transformation, you know, death, rebirth, all of that shit. And then you have Cancer in your 6th house, which is also about emotions and fluctuating things, you know. And if, for example, the actual moon, the moon that's transiting is somehow afflicting your 6th house, it's gonna fuck up your body somehow, you know. And you can, every other sign can take this too, with wherever they have Cancer at. So yeah, with Virgo in your 6th house, you also may, when you have sex, you don't you probably think way too much when you have sex. You don't move freely, you know what I'm saying? And when you do, it's in a nervous way, so you do so much. You do the fucking most, you know what I'm saying? Or you always think, when you fucking, you're am I doing the right thing? Or is this person enjoying it? You know, that type of thing. But also it depends on the house lord, you know what I'm saying? So yeah. And then in your ninth house, you have Libra, right? So you learn a lot from Libras. So this is what Libras can teach you as an Aquarius rising. Libras can teach you how to just like not be so stubborn and understand that like everybody has their own point of view, right? And just because you as an Aquarius rising think you're the smartest person on earth, just because you have formulated ideologies in your head that this is how everybody should think, because because in your head you formulated a solution that could help a whole bunch of things, right? You should, like, a Libra can teach you that, okay, yeah, you have a point and you probably are very smart and you do have a good point, but somebody else may not like be willing to do that because somebody else has their own ideologies of how things should be, and that's the whole thing of freedom of choice, is that everybody can figure it out or think of something that, like, think of different ways of how things can come into a conclusion, and it may not be in the way that you think it should be, but it is what it is. Libras can teach you that. Libras can teach you how to like not be so stubborn and not be so stiff with how you think, because as an Aquarius rising, you may think like, oh no, I don't want to talk to people because they're so stupid, or I don't want to talk to people because the conversation that they hold on like mentally stimulating. And a Libra can teach you because of the ninth house of the wisdom. A Libra can give you wisdom on how to allow people to just like freely talk about whatever they want to talk about, because even though you think some people are stupid, within those conversations you can learn a lot about a whole bunch of other things. You know what I'm saying? Like a whole bunch of things about like being compromising in a situation, because as an Aquarius rising, you sometimes don't even let people finish their sentences. So as a Libra can teach you how to like have a conversation, period. You say something, I say something, you say something, I say something, you say something, and then we do that thing where we have a conversation. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So your 10th house is Scorpio, right? Now here's the thing with because it kind of plays out like a Mars exaltation, it shares energies anyway. But if you have Scorpio with Scorpio in the 10th house as an Aquarius rising, the way you reach your goal and your status quo and how you like things that you like to present, you like to work hard, right? You have this like stay down till you come up energy, right? But also because this is with Scorpio, this is how you appear to be when you do shit. Not like you're rising, but your 10th house is more so like things that you want to be seen for, right? So you are seen for being an intense person. That's why a lot of people are intimidated by you, Aquarius rising. You're like somewhat of an intense person. People know you like, oh shit, she's that person. When she wants something, she's gonna go ahead get that shit, bruh. She's gonna go ahead fucking do the most, like go hard as fuck and get that shit, bruh. You know what I'm saying? But also this makes you someone that works really hard, because you may be around people, or you may know someone that's like that, they kind of get things or they get something quicker than how much you've been working for it, and then you start hating on them like, oh fuck bro, how dare they, like what the fuck, that wasn't even dope. What, they just getting attention because they hot or whatever. You know what I'm saying? That might piss you off. But then you as an Aquarius rising realize that, oh man, these people have probably formulated things in their own head, and like the universe was like, oh wow, you're using your energy, great, so boom, you're blessed, there you go. But you as an Aquarius rising with your Scorpio in your 10th house, it's not going to be like that for you. You know what I'm saying? So you need to realize like you just stay working hard, stay down till you come up. That's the thing for Aquarius rising. Stay down till you come up. You know what I'm saying? Just because you think other people do things and it's stupid how they got famous, and you think it's stupid how they even went about going to do it. Like, leave that shit. Leave that shit. Don't be a hater. Just you keep working hard. Do your own thing. Focus on yourself, and then you be straight. You be fine. And then with your 11th house in Sagittarius, right? So you learn a lot. You learn a lot from people that you don't know, especially from Sagittariuses, right? You gain wisdom from Sagittariuses, right? So, you like whenever you are in situations where you have not experienced, or it's unfamiliar, or situations where you haven't you don't know that territory, right? You always learn the most, like you experience the most. Like, let's say you go to a party and you've never met those people, you've never been in that building, so you just exploring that entire building, you learn so much about like the people there. And then you learn about like just how different people like are, and why different people are the way they are. You know what I'm saying? You may have grown up in a very small town, and then you go to Jersey or you go to like a big city, and then you start learning like, oh my god, there's so much more than just this like little city, because this little city has just taught me what this little city only knows. And when you go to like unknown places, and it's like, oh wow, you learn so much about yourself, and then you start growing like, oh shit, like I'm not just this little village girl. Haha, that's funny. I'm not like this village girl. I can also like, you know, like the city has taught me, being in the city has taught me so much about shit, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, and then finally your 12th house being Capricorn. Subconsciously, right? Capricorn is ruled by Saturn too. So and Saturn is boundaries and restrictions and all of that shit. So sometimes you're like you might have friends that do drugs and shit, and then you might also do drugs. Saturn always like, because it's dealing with the subconscious, right? And drugs also lead you to the subconscious. So you may like, there's always something that like that puts a road blockage on you having like that many drugs. So you, for example, you may even start smoking weed for a while, like smoking blah, 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 and then you get like a job or you go to school, and then it forces you to stop smoking weed, you know. Or you can even take this with your dreams, like when you go to sleep, you're not fully like, Saturn kind of puts a road blockage on like on your dreams and how much you dream. So you may sometimes not dream at all, or you may dream a lot, and then, or not dream a lot, but you may dream, and then somehow like that shit just like, it just, I don't know, your dream just gets stopped. It stops somehow, but subconsciously you are like, you about the bag, you know, because Capricorn is about the bag, bro. Subconsciously you're like very serious. Subconsciously you like don't take jokes, but subconsciously you're actually very sensitive, because I feel like Capricorn energy is very sensitive. It's just like quiet about that sensitivity, you know. Subconsciously you were savage as fuck, you know. And this could be sometimes a great deal or not a great deal, you know. You like, sometimes you like subconsciously you know how to bring yourself out of a situation. This video is so fucking long, but yeah, I had to, babe. But yeah, basically that's all I have to say about Aquarius rising. And yeah,